this case study, we're looking at how startups and corporations can collaborate and innovate for Africa. But first, I'd like to introduce Kingsley Abrokwa, who's the CEO of Kudigo. And this case study is basically about him and his company. So Kingsley, a round of applause for him, our techpreneur.
Now, most of us know the word Kudi, which means money in Hausa terms, and the word play is to track your money on the go. Now, our company is focused on enabling transparency in consumer retail in Africa. Now, to do that, consumer retail involves retail itself, it involves payments, it involves accounting, it involves big data. So our focus was how to get a solution that focuses on the core thing on retail, but offers value props across payments, across accounting, across analytics, to that small informal business woman who has that small store in front of your house, so that she can use it, become financially inclusive, have data on their business, and eventually grow. So that's really what the company is all about. Now I'm going to do a quick demo of the product we have, which we call the Kudigo Foresight. Now Kudigo, our solution has been in play for the past 1 year. Currently we have over 500 businesses on the solution. We have over 1 million products in our system. Now that simply makes us the only startup in Ghana or in Africa to say that who has enough data on consumer retail in Africa. Now with that data, we have built a system we call Kudigo Foresight. Now, Kudigo Foresight is targeted at enterprise clientele, FMCG companies. Now what happens is guys like Nestle have no oversight of what happens to that tin of milk when it's sold by my grandma at a container store, right? What price it was sold, when it expired and all that. Now, Kudigo Foresight enables them to do that. They get out the system, they set particular things they want to track based on their own KPIs. And based on the data that we have in our system, whenever something happens on that product in the market, they get to see it. So they can say, I want to know whenever a tin of milk is sold at Malaka, at what price, who bought it, who supplied it, when it expired. And because we have that adoption in the marketplace, we can give them that data. And that's what Kudigo Foresight does. Now, we go a step further by providing them what we call intelligent insights. So again, I mentioned 1 million data, right? Nobody can say he wants to track everything in 1 million data sets. But then we've been able to build an algorithm that enables our system to figure out what a guy like Nestle wants and be able to put that data as and when it happens in the system. So Nestle might say, I want to track just price comparison. But for some reason, a lot of their products are expiring at a particular location. That's something they should know, right? But they are not tracking. We are able to bring them that data. So this is actually live data from our system. All these locations are actual physical locations where people have stores and are using Kudigo storefronts in Ghana and Nigeria. And you can track and see, okay, this particular location, what has been sold, who bought it, at what price point, did it expire or not. And you get that data as it happens every single time. And for you as an enterprise, like even banks and all those things, if a bank wants to give a micro SME a loan, they want to do credit profile, right? Know whether that business can pay for that amount or not. This can help them say, okay, if this business has sold 1,000 CDs over the past 3 months consecutively, if I give them 200 CDs, they can really pay back. So it's all about the data and how that data enables the entire ecosystem from retail, from fintech to big data to enable all these people. Because, and again, for me, I'm very passionate about Kudigo because my grandma has a store like this, and that's what made me build this company for her. She went for a loan from a financial institution, and we're charging an outrageous interest rate. But she's been running this little thing for the past 25 years. She even paid my fees with that. So how can you say you can't bank on her? But then she has no verifiable data, right? She thinks she can sell, but can she really sell? So this is enabling her. Right now that she's doing Kudigo stuff on, she has proper financial records. She has balance sheet. She doesn't even know what the balance sheet is, but she has it. And that's what the tech is enabling her to do it. So I'm going to pause the video here so that I can go into the panel discussion, and thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeffrey. What I do for IntoSwitch is help IntoSwitch acquire merchants. And a lot of people have asked, what is merchant acquiring? This is where we enable vertical markets to do business by using intelligent solutions that have been developed for that industry and sit that on our payment technology and channels. And so if you are, say, in the retail business and there is a solution that helps your business, acquiring you would be enabling that solution that you're using to receive payment across the channels like mobile money, like POS terminals like QR and the rest like that. And by doing that, you're acquiring that merchant to do payment and to use solutions built for that industry.
Brilliant. Letitia?
Letitia Brown, Director of Intelligent Capital. There are 4 key pillars to the business, but essentially what all of them are working towards is trying to position early stage companies to actually raise capital, whether it be locally or on a global market.
So, hi again. I'm Kinsley from Kudigo, and I'm a techpreneur, and our company is focused on redefining consumer retail in Africa with accessibility and transparency.
So part of this discussion is to really look at the collaborations between sort of startups like Kudigo and big players like InterSwitch, and how do you put a partnership like this together? How do you leverage on it? How do we build Ghana's tech ecosystem, leveraging on all these really great partnerships? There are not a lot of these happening at the moment, and I think that the Kudigo InterSwitch partnership is an amazing partnership. What I want to start with, for the startups in the room especially, for you to tell us the journey from, okay, so I think Kudigo is an idea, and I want to build it out to, I talked to InterSwitch, to we've signed a partnership, to we've gone live, and to we have 1 billion products. I wanted to tell us the journey so that at least the startups in the room can begin to understand what it takes to go from 0 to 0.5. We're not at 1 yet. 0 to 0.5.
Yeah, so for me, I think again, what really helped us, my team and I, is the fact that from the very get-go, we saw Kudigo as a company, not an idea. So we focused on putting structures in place, knowing exactly what we wanted to focus on. Now, in doing that, we understood what we didn't need to do. Kudigo was never meant to be a payment company. Kudigo was never meant to be an accounting company. But to do what we wanted to do with retail and big data, we needed accounting, we needed payments. So the question was, who do I approach and who can help me? But then, so we didn't just start with InterSwitch, we approached a couple of other big corporates. But when you go into a meeting, right, with all these big corporates who have all these big titles in a very fancy conference room, and you come across as not really knowing your scope, they'll just laugh at you. And that happened to me a couple of times, right? So I go in there, I thought I had this unique position, but then I didn't think of how it benefits them. Because I need them, they don't need me. So as I walk into that room, what do I have? Do I have customers? No. Do I have money? No. What do I really have? Well, I think I'm a nice guy, work with me. That won't fly. So again, moving on to that, we also try to look at, if you are wanting to partner with a big corporate, which big corporate fits exactly what you want to do. It's not every payment provider who, when we approached, saw the bigger value that we were looking to offer. InterSwitch saw that. But then in the initial stages, they also had to do their own due diligence. So my first meeting with them, and I'm happy Ina is here. My first time I went to Lagos, again, you have to spend money. So I flew to Lagos, right? And I went to have this meeting with Ina and his team, right? They listened to me, okay? But then after the meeting, there was dead silence. Weeks went by, no response to emails. And I felt sad because I felt, these people, why? Don't they see what I'm seeing? Yes, they don't see what you're seeing until it becomes something tangible. So then we did our homework, went back to the market, got real users, fixed the issues they pointed out to us. And then I went back to them again. Second time I went, that's when I met Jeffrey and his team. And at that point, based on the experience I learned from these guys, I pitched it differently to him. And they then saw the value. But at that point, I was showing them how it benefits them and not really me. So I think, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's how we looked at it in terms of how we wanted to get to where we are now, and who we needed to talk to make that possible.
So it's not just about pitching the product and hoping they can see it, but it's making sure that your value proposition is tailored in such a way that Jeffrey, who's sitting across the table, can begin to see how it helps his KPIs and how it helps get his bonus at the end of the year. So Jeffrey, I'd love you to talk from your side on why this partnership made sense to you, and the journey for you from your side into getting to this point.
All right. So InterSwitch has in the last 15 years, developed a lot of backbone for payment across Africa. Today we are in 6 countries, and we're building on that. Also, it's a brand that has built a card payment token that is trumping the ones from abroad. I want to mention brand names, but it's the most used in Africa. And the reason that this has become successful is because of the backbone that we've built. And now we're transiting to the next level, which is, instead of trying to be innovative, we're becoming enablers. How can we grow Africa if we want to do everything ourselves? So when we heard from him, Kingsley, his business strategy, his approach fit the model that we're looking for. As we becoming enablers, we wanted to enable that. And one of the things I want to say to start off is, sometimes when you're starting a business, you are thinking, oh, what I need is money. Sometimes the most important thing you could have would be the strategic partners that you have that then can instigate investors to want to believe in you. And that is very important as well. And so he had everything that fits the bill for us as well. He was interested in data. He was interested in solving the retail problems, and his business continuity strategy was not just for Ghana. He wants to take on West Africa, he wants to come to Nigeria and the rest of other countries as well. And he had built a team that is nimble enough to take feedback and change to adapt to the market. And that for us was important. Some people come and say, oh, this is my product and this is how I want to do it. But a business that is structured around knowing that the consumers keep on evolving as years go by, and then we built an operational structure that adjusts to that change, allow us to evolve and innovate. Otherwise, you're in the region and then we can't grow. And that for us was important as well. And so for business owners, that is also very important to get in partners that can, partner with you.
So from your side, I'm trying to crystallize it from your side, he had a really nimble team, he took advice, he came to you with a good value prop, he took advice, and you could see that him doing really well would be good for your end of year bonus.
Maybe.
Right, so Letitia, you come at it from a really different angle, right? So you're on the investor side of things. Talk to us a little bit about how these partnerships enable startups to look better for investors, and how startups can literally leverage on that and grow.
Yeah, so the first deck was, it was a bit of a mismatch. He didn't really fully understand the product at that time. He was asking for around $5,000 to develop the idea further. And he knows that nobody in my investment network is going to invest $5,000. So it was a personal plea, Letitia, can you give me? And I said no. But after the interactions with InterSwitch, and he'd gone back and forth, and he presented another deck. And I could see how the company had evolved, how much clarity there was now around the product and the service. And we started shipping it out to a few people within the network. I think we made a lot of progress, right? We had a few rounds of screening and so forth, got in front of an investment committee. However, he had pivoted at that time. Kingsley's very good at taking advice, but at that time, I think the traction was kind of getting a bit excited. So he had pivoted, and then the investors decided not to move forward at that particular point. But what was critical in terms of him getting in front of that investment committee was the fact that he had this really strong partnership. So they saw it as a route to scale, essentially, that he had a partnership that was going to enable him to scale really quickly, and that would enable him to focus the investment capital on what they do best, rather than trying to build what InterSwitch was then bringing to the table. And that was really exciting for them. It's not over. We're still in talks, and we're still trying to finalize and put something together. But in preparing for this discussion today, and looking at the portfolio of companies that we presented to the same investor, the ones who have actually received investments, we've closed around $500,000 to date with 2 really early stage businesses. Both of them have got exactly the same traits, in the sense that they've got really strong partnerships with larger organizations that enable them to go to market really quickly and enable them to scale. And I think there's something to also be said about the preparation process, right? I feel like him going back and forth with InterSwitch was preparing him to actually face investors as well. So in trying to secure those partnerships, he was able to get a little bit of practice and do a little bit of work as to how to then bring in financial partners as well. So I think Kudigo is a really strong example of how partnering with the right people can also get you in front of the right kind of people when it comes down to raising capital.
So partnerships can help you get the funding that you need, strong partnerships. I want to come back to you quickly on, talk to us about the challenges, right? So I know the challenges in structuring a partnership deal so that you can get the best out of the deal and the big partner can also get the best out of the deal.
So I think the most important part of that is to understand your partner's business as if it was your own business, right? So before I had to go back to InterSwitch, I had to learn what a PTSD is. Because before that, I didn't know what a PTSD was, right? I felt I had all this ingenuity, but I didn't know that. So I had to learn about their industry, what works, what doesn't work there, so that once I go to them, I won't talk from a naive perspective. Because for them, look, I have a team of 5 people, right? We can make decisions in a second. They have like a whole hierarchy of people who they have to report to, board approvals here and there, and they look at things, dot their I's, cross the T's. So if you go to them and you are talking without any proper research or background to it, it looks as if you just came to waste their time, because that is not where they are. So we had to do that. Preparation was very key. Understand who they was. Again, people will ask, why InterSwitch? So from the get-go, we believe Kudigo was an Africa-wide product. So we're looking for a partner who was already across Africa. Now what that means is currently we are in Nigeria, making money in Nigeria, but I have no office in Nigeria. Through that partnerships. They are in Kenya, we go to Kenya with them. In fact, wherever they go, we are following them. And it costs me nothing. So that helped us to scale. So it was really focused on exactly what they had, what we wanted, and how we would make ourselves look so good that they would want to give us free money, also support us.
Free money. Kizzy the whole day has been talking about free money and grants. I have no idea why. Jeffrey, do you want to speak to that, the same question around some of the challenges? And what I might do is, after Letitia speaks, we'll then go to questions so we can get 2 or 3 questions in. So if you have questions, write them down, get them ready, and then.
All right. I don't know if Patrick has left from Stanbic. He mentioned a very important thing during his discussion. He said that while a lot of people are being enabled for payment, there is not a lot done around the merchant part for acceptance. And as part of our merchant acquiring strategy is to see how we can enable acceptance at merchant location. One of the things that I like that he's done is that he's looked at the consumer pyramid. There is a bottom of that pyramid that will make the least amount of profit per transaction. So everybody's looking at A, B, C, nobody's looking at D, E. And so his solution has kind of provided value at that scale so that the aggregated transaction volume would become the value to people playing in that space. And that's what we liked about the business model. And so if he's building a solution and along the line of our strategy to digitize that part of that pyramid, then we're scaling together along that way. And if you look at Africa, over 65 to 70% of what we do is retail. And then retail is not just the people at the market. There's retail cuts across different market segments, right? So when you find a solution that can apply to 10 different retail segments, and that is rich and it's simple and easy to use, right? And for us as well, I've seen a lot of people talk about mobile money, QR, cards, and payment. At the end of it, what really matters is that the society is accepting that. So today, if I go to the Malam, back in Lagos, we call them a little more pop and shop. So I go there and I want to buy, say, 2 biscuits. And he's taking this money. He doesn't have any data. He doesn't understand all this payment technology and everything that we're doing. And here comes a little solution I can use on my mobile phone, right? Which is disconnected from maybe other payment option. So the strategy now is to say, is it possible to build a solution that sits on a platform and a device that does payment across all channels? Is that possible? Yes, it is. So today, now we have a technology that not only helps you to sell, but presents data in a way that you can take better decisions, manage your inventory. On that same device and platform, you can accept card payment across all issuer, right? You can accept QR, you can accept mobile money, you can do USSD. So now with one device, you can enable small businesses to play in the space that they were usually ignored.
Tisha, do you want to speak to that? Just the challenges, for you, I think the question would be around a set of tips, right, for startups that are looking for investment and how to begin to structure their partnerships so that when they come to you, they're interesting to you.
I think it's about being strategic. It's not just about brands, right? InterSwitch, yes, a great brand, but I think it was a really strategic partnership for Kingsley because they had a very clear growth strategy which he felt that he could slot into. So I think in doing all things, we need to be strategic. I think sometimes we chase after brands and after names, and you see people on advisory boards and even boards of directors that are not even necessarily relevant to the business, but they may be, known people in our society. It's a lack of strategy. There's no thinking in there. And I think that we need to try and avoid that and really think about really key strategic partnerships that are going to help you to grow your business. And that goes with your advisory board or even people that you're bringing into the business in terms of your team and so forth. You should always go from the perspective, always look from the perspective as, okay, so what value are they going to bring on board, right? How are they going to help you to grow? Whether it be through relationships, whether it be through knowledge sharing, whether it be through like this partnership that they have now, that's opening up other markets to them, right? Very, very clear growth strategy. So that would be my tip, is that be a little bit strategic about the partnerships. Don't just look for names that we think are going to look good on our company profiles.
I just want to add to that. I took some notes just before. You find as well that some people think that just because you have a great idea or you have a great product that you're going to be a great company. What is also important is the model of your company. Your price point as to designing the right price for the niche that you're going after. When people design products and want to be like, they forget that the be like that they're looking at have a different niche, have a different business model, and so their price point is different from what you are targeting. And so price is important as you're looking at. The business model that you're going to apply is also very important for the type of market that you're targeting. And if I'm going to give you money to do business, one of the things that would pop out is how do you want to service the customer? How do you want to manage support? What kind of technology do you want to use? What kind of team do you want to put in place to support the business that you're trying to build? And of course, there are a lot of tools like the business model canvas that can help startups and entrepreneurs to restructure the model of their business to become nimble enough to provide the services to the market that they're trying to go after.
Okay, so I'm going to try and summarize that and then we'll go into the questions. So if you're a startup that is looking to partner with a big player in your market, you need to begin to understand your niche, right? So what Jeffrey said about Kudigo figuring out that there is a lot of retail, there's a whole spectrum of people in retail. There's the maybe Malcolm, or there's the bigger players, and then there right at the bottom of that pyramid is a little mom and pop shops. And he figured out that he could build a solution at the bottom of the pyramid that would make him different and make him a category of one. And then you look at your growth structure, look and design your growth structure so that it aligns with the partner that you're going to look at, right? So InterSwitch plan is to be an enabler. is essentially to grow retail payments across Africa. And Kudigo enables them to reach areas that are harder to reach or people that are harder to reach where smaller numbers will grow. So there's the instant alignment, and so we can go in there and have a conversation and Jeffrey, sorry, I keep talking about your bonus, and Jeffrey begins to see his bonus grow bigger, and he's quite happy to come back into another meeting.
His first app about 5 years ago crashed and burned, but you know, he keeps coming back and he keeps coming back, and I think this time he's hit on something that is really going to work, you know. And I think that sometimes we're in a bit of a rush, right, trying to raise capital because we think we've got a great idea, but I think 3 startups later, you've now kind of got to a point where, so that's just an encouragement to anyone that's thinking about starting a tech company. Really just keep pushing and you'll end up like this.
Me. So for me, I think the critical thing is to first of all have people like Letitia and Ethel around you, because these are guys who can call me and say, look, what you're doing is damn, stop it, and I'll stop it, because I listen to them. So they kind of shape my thinking as a business person. And also, some people wonder, who did you know at Internet to get you there? Well, I know a platform called LinkedIn, and that's how I reach out to all these people, and that's how I got you where I am. So really, if you see yourself at where you want to be, start preparing towards it. Have a proper corporate profile. Connect to the right people. Don't go be sending people, I love you on LinkedIn. No. LinkedIn is for business. Use it for that. You know, so that kind of branding makes you attractive to business people who are really serious about their business, you know. And also have a great team. See, I think I have the best team in Ghana. Like my team can literally build anything so long as it's tech, right? And I don't have to worry about whether it will crash or because I know they are good at what they do. So have the right people around you who understand what you're doing and can share in that vision. Because if today Kingsley is not with Kudigo, the company will rise. But it's not really about me, it's about the team and what we're doing. So I think that's my main conclusion on that.
Thank you so much, Ethel. It's all about